Nobody knows to walk the way you do. The fight in your soul, oh, your strength is true. Nobody knows to shine the way you do. And I need you to give a little love, give a little love, that's all we need. Give a little love, 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 see them all. Nobody knows to move the way you do. Round and around, you're no one else but you, darling. Nobody knows to groove the way you do. And I need you to give a little love, give a little love, that's all I need. Give a little love, 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 see them all. Giving out, see them all. Give a little love, give a little love, give a little love, giving out, give a little love, give a little love, give a little love, see them all. This is that once in a lifetime.
Welcome. We are back. Another day in the market. Pretty wild day. Down, up, down. You know how it is. Tesla had earnings. I think it was up like 5% after hours. Craziness. Wow, Cheddar Freeze is in here. Nice to see you in the chat. How you doing? Big vibes in the chat for Cheddar Freeze. Hit the like button on your way in. And yeah, so we're going to talk about crypto tonight, the overall markets. Apart from that, we're going to talk about some other stuff. The US 10-year pulled back today. If you watched last night's stream, we were talking about that resistance. I haven't looked at metals. We'll see how those are doing. I haven't looked at the Hang Seng Index. There's a lot of different charts I haven't even looked at. I was kind of focused on like 4 or 5 different names today, which I'll also talk about. Clov, Fisker, Citibank, some of the names we've already been talking about. And we're going to talk about Netflix down 35% at the close, Tesla down 5% at the close, but then I think up 5% after hours. So a lot of different things going on. We have another new swing. The sheet is starting to grow for the first time in a while. It's kind of only been like 5, 6, 7 tickers on the sheet for a while. Now you can see, I mean, these ones don't count anymore because they failed, but you can see it's starting to grow, all right? And there's a reason behind that. Not a certainty, but a reason behind that. And yeah, with all that being said, let's get started with Bitcoin, which, look at this, perfectly tapped this resistance I've had charted, this 42.2K level. It was highs over here and over here. It was like a couple different lows and highs from the past. So you pretty much tested that as resistance. You still do have the hidden bullish divergence developing on Bitcoin. And that's really about it. Not too much. DSO bounced up a little bit. It's kind of like just consolidating. You could even draw like maybe a little bit of like a triangle here or something. Just consolidating for right now after pretty much hitting the first target, but not literally hitting it. And then finally Ethereum, not much. All right, broke out of the wedge, it went up, it got a bearish engulfing candle over here. That's really it. Moving on to other markets, we can start off with crude oil. Yeah, you know, we last night we talked about how all these different technicals have been playing out beautifully, from bats to wedges to resistance. And then last night I said there's really no edge at all, and then that's really what you did today. You went up, you went down, you got an indecision candle, you just got a doji. So still just complete indecision from a technical standpoint, nothing to really talk about there. But the US 10-year, very interesting. I started talking about how it was starting to look a little bit bearish to me last night, the potential for like this same island bearish divergence. And I told you all that we were approaching this resistance zone. And guess what? I also talked about how, like, you know, it's good. You're overbought. I mean, not good, but like, it could be good, actually. You're overbought. You have some kind of bearish divergence. But I was saying last night, you know, even and also you're at a resistance and you're at the upper Bollinger Band, like, it's just screaming that it's, as Mitch Ray would say, it's just nuclear right now. It's just insanely overbought. It's gone up too quick, too fast. It needs a healthy correction, at least in my opinion. I was saying last night that I was thinking that we could start to pull back within the next couple of weeks. But the one thing I was saying, the one other variable I wanted, kind of the cherry on top, was a bearish candle, okay? And that is what you got today. You got a bearish engulfing candle, okay? So bearish engulfing candle. I mean, this has to be the first one in a very, very long time. Yeah, I don't see any other bearish engulfing candles during this whole entire rally. This was not a bearish engulfing because you closed a little bit above that. So this is your first bearish engulfing since you were under 2%, okay? That's very interesting. And, you know, we're seeing a lot of these growth stocks, large cap tech stocks pulling back pretty heavily, and this is kind of going up, which kind of acts against that. But if this starts pulling back, you could see some relief in some of those names. And of course, that did kind of extend even more with Netflix, something which we'll talk about in a bit. Moving on to metals, silver, it dropped a little bit further after that bearish engulfing and kind of created a little bit of a bullish pin bar. So from a bearish candle to a bullish candle, and it bounced right off that same exact inflection zone. And then gold, a little bit different, close to a hammer candle, kind of in the middle of nowhere. The dollar, whoa, big bearish engulfing candle for the dollar currency index. That's like a textbook, just like yikes. And, you know, I guess it gapped a little bit. I didn't mean to do that. I guess it gapped a little bit, but you get the point. There might even be another name for this candle I'm forgetting, where it's like a piercing candle or something. I forget the name, where it like takes out like 3 candles at the same time. I think it's a bearish candle. It's not too hard to tell. And then you also have some bearish divergence alongside that. So we're starting to see the dollar, the 10-year, which were names, if you go back to last fall, that I was becoming very, very bullish on. Now we're starting to see them turn bearish, in my opinion, which could be good for equities. Okay, we saw a lot of people run to safety with inflation going crazy. And that was not even something I accounted for. I just saw bullish variables in a lot of these different charts that are kind of not necessarily directly inverse the market, but could act as inverse to at least certain sectors in the market. But now those types of potentially inversing assets that we look at all the time are starting to flip to bearish in my eyes for the first time of the year, which is interesting. All right, so we talk about these names in the beginning of every single stream. Keep an eye on all of that. We can now move on to stocks. Futures are green. You know, just like futures were red yesterday, mainly due to Netflix falling quite a bit after hours. Now futures are green with Tesla up after hours. And just like I said yesterday, that Netflix is not the US stock market, Tesla is not the US stock market. But these are some major stocks. They do hold large weightings in a lot of ETFs and indices. And just from like sympathy, they can affect things, right? They're not literally the market, but a lot of people get fearful when they see something like Netflix down 25%, or a lot of people get excited when they see something like Tesla up 5%. All right. So in terms of the price action today for the overall market, what took place? We closed relatively flat for the S&P. We closed green for the Russell 2000, and then we closed pretty red for the QQQ and the NASDAQ, and even the ARK ETF. Last night's stream, we talked about the potential for a rotation to small caps. All right, it was even like the tweet that I put out when I was going live in the title, probably in the Discord message too. And the small cap index ETF, the Russell 2000, was pretty much the only major index green today. Okay. Let me see the Russell 1000. 1 second. Am I getting confused right now? I don't remember that being. I'm looking for something specific. What's the ticker for Russell growth? It's we were just looking at this. It's IWO, I think. Never mind. Not the Russell 1000. Yeah, there we go. The 2000 growth ETF. That's what I wanted. All right. This was flat today, just like the S&P. So it's mainly just the small caps, like the actual small caps, were green or closed green. That was interesting. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. I want to start off with the S&P. In terms of variables, you lose any bullish variables. You still have your hidden bullish divergence developing on the daily and now confirmed on the 4 hour. You're kind of just testing the supply line on this descending broadening wedge on the 4 hour. And on the 1 hour, remember this little zone that I drew as resistance last night on stream? You kind of just spent the whole entire day chopping around. I mean, you had a fake out, breakout to the upside. You had a fake out, breakdown to the downside. It was just choppiness. You did close with the bearish engulfing on the 1 hour, a little bit of selling into the end of the day, but there's a lot of different ways you can look at this price action on the lower time frames. For me, as long as you could just hold, and you're barely above it, but if you can just hold this blue zone that we've been talking about, you're okay. You're okay. On low time frames. On higher time frames, you're more than okay. I'm just saying on lower time frames, I just want to see this zone held, okay? If that breaks, then I might even play puts tomorrow if that zone breaks. I don't know. I'll have to see what the candles look like on the 5 and the 15, and what the volume and everything looks like. But as long as you stay above that zone, I'm probably not touching puts. I mean, unless like something else happens. You can't predict variables until they appear. And then I'll also be watching this little 5-minute. I wouldn't call it a flag. It's more of just like a channel. It's really too large for a flag, to be honest. But yeah, that's what I'll be watching for the SPY tomorrow. Oh, there was also this today, which I was a little bit, how do I put it? Gotta sneeze. All right, we had this very large, this is a very large triangle to appear. And it's basically created in 1 day on the 5-minute time frame. That is a huge pattern. And we saw something like just a little flag over here yesterday lead to a nice 1% rally. And today you were testing a breakout of this large triangle. And I don't know. I mean, there was a fake out for the most part. There was a nice little move. And if you follow me on Twitter, like it was in these areas where I was like getting really hyped up about this. And it still did make like a 1/5% move. It still was tradable, but definitely the measured move, I don't remember if the measured move is like this on triangles, but you get the point. It's a very large pattern, and you did not get anywhere near the move that you got off of a much smaller pattern intraday yesterday. So that was surprising to me that it didn't really fully play out, but it still did make for some nice moves. And I did catch something similar on the QQQ, which we'll talk about later in the stream, or maybe even next. That's the S&P going into tomorrow. 200-day moving average could be your resistance. Then we already talked about that support zone. The QQQ just kind of pulling back a little bit. You had a nice big green day yesterday. You gave up a little bit of those gains with Netflix selling off quite a bit. You still have that potential inverse head and shoulders formation. Where is it? It's on my daily for the NASDAQ. Nothing really changed. You just pulled back. You gave up like half the gains from yesterday. The hidden bullish divergence, the potential inverse head and shoulders, all that good stuff is still there. Even on like the lower time frames, you're developing like a much smaller potential inverse head and shoulders, which is interesting. Yeah, today, if you're in the Discord, I was getting a lot of updates about the QQQ. The link for the Discord is in the description. Let's see if we could find some. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much like all over here. So I was sharing a lot of different updates from this bear flag, which I did play personally with puts. Let's see. So I spotted this bear flag that clearly played out very quickly and nicely, and then it created a wedge. And I said that you're starting to kind of change it up. I said I took profits on my puts. This is for all of you in the Discord. And then you created this wedge. And then I did alert premium calls. I called them super lottos, all right? Because it was pretty much 1 p.m. and these expired today. And the QQQ was at 342 and I alerted at 345. So it was $3 out of the money, and they expired in like 3 or 4 hours. So I called them super lottos. I said, put in whatever you're just fully willing to risk. And again, by putting, I mean just based on the for the idea for the plan. Okay, remember, you do whatever you want with your own money. I'm not making anybody do anything. I'm just assuming you choose to do whatever you choose to do, right? where's the word? Right over here. And I said, these can easily double or more. And they doubled. Okay. They did double. They went up 130%. It went up to the VWAP. That's actually what I was hoping for. Let's see. I said over here. When it was all the way down over here, I was saying move to VWAP as possible. They should be up about 100% there, and that's exactly what happened. That's literally the analysis of the QQQ. That was the only alert from today, but some alerts from yesterday worked out nicely, except for Tilray. We're going to get back to those towards the end of the stream. I want to keep focused on the overall market. But that's pretty much the QQQ. The Nasdaq's pretty much the same thing. And then the ARK ETF, it was down 6%. I'm not sure if they hold Netflix or something, but just in general, a lot of, and this was, it kind of got me mad. Like, not mad, but like, and I had a green day today. I was all good. I think the only stock that was kind of somewhat correlated was maybe Fisker that I was in, which I'm still in, which I think I was up a couple percent after hours. But when we saw Netflix fall yesterday after hours on earnings, and then we saw a lot of like large cap tech names also falling, that makes sense to me. Okay, it's the same sector, the same types of market caps. That makes sense to me. And also all those companies are pretty much, you know, reporting earnings within the next couple of weeks. That completely makes sense to me. But when we saw mid-cap growth stocks today sell off like they did, it was just weird. There were some stocks, and you could clearly tell just based on their price action that the only reason that they were red today was because of Netflix and the QQQ falling, even though the Russell was up. But there were some stocks today where they literally, like, fundamentally, sector-wise, even market cap is like super, just everything is just completely different than Netflix. The only, like, but you could also tell that they were falling because of Netflix. And I don't want to like bring up so many specific names, like maybe something like Fisker, maybe something like I wouldn't say AMC. I'm just looking through my watches. Like SoFi down 6%, Upstart down 9%, Hood down 7%, Wish down like 9%. It was just very clear that and there might have been a couple of the stocks where I just didn't see it. There was news or something, so I'm just looking through my watches. But those types of names, it's just weird, just very weird to see. But it is what it is, and this is why I always talk about the news itself, and what you feel about the news is never as important as what the overall market feels about the news. Does that make sense? And this is why whenever we have something like an FOMC minutes or whatever, and you all see me saying like, I'm more concerned about how other people react to this than what I think about this FOMC. A lot of people like, okay, I'm bullish on this FOMC minutes release, so I think the market's going to go up. Again, there's millions of people, okay? There's a lot more money than whatever's in your account that's moving the market. What you think, of course, is important if you're educated, but it's not going to move the market. What matters, and all that matters technically, is the buys and the sells that are moving all these candles and how the majority of people react, all right? So when I say something like Netflix is not the stock market, a lot of traders will trade like Netflix is the stock market. Same thing for Tesla. So you have to keep all those things in mind for anybody who's like newer to trading. You're going to start to learn, you know, a common word that you can use for stuff like that is like sympathy plays. It can work on both sides. And yeah, so the ARK sold off quite a bit today. It does have this gap fill over here around $55, almost a little bit under that. Lowest close of this pullback / correction, whatever you want to call it. Still, it was kind of breaking out, but now it's kind of back in this channel. So that's the overall market. That's my thoughts on the market. I think we did pull back. I think it was mainly catalyst driven, but there's no technical damage as of right now. So my thesis that I'm bullish remains the same. Speaking of those names we were just talking about, we could start with Netflix, which got destroyed on earnings yesterday, like we talked about. Not much to say. You know, Mitch Ray would say it's on the other side of the fence now, okay? This was one side of the fence, and now it's on the other side of the fence. And it's been on the other side of the fence since the end of last year. So yeah. Technicals are not super important for Netflix right now, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. This is mainly a technical focused stream. Fundamentally, you say, or you could think whatever you want to think. For me, I'll just be watching from the sidelines. I saw, what's his name, Bill Ackman or something. Oh, there we go. Gives up on Netflix. This is crazy. So, they bought, I think it was like the previous earnings or something. They bought like one of like the largest stakes in Netflix. I don't know the actual numbers, but they bought a lot of Netflix, all right? And I'm not going to say they paper handed, but they cut their loss and it was a very quick U-turn for them. I mean, it's right over here. They locked in a loss of more than 400 million. So it's just crazy. I think they said it's going to drop like their quarterly performance, or it did drop it by like, might have been a couple percent or 4%. I don't remember the exact number. I just briefly looked at it, but yeah. That was not a good trade. I don't know what else to say. I hope they make their money back in other areas. And then moving on to Tesla, it was just kind of in this range leading up into earnings. And well, it made a move back up. So it was down 5% today, and then with the earnings, it just pretty much went, well, not that much. It just went right back up to the top of this little range, as you can see right there. So it's still just kind of within this range. Tesla, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this tomorrow to see a break to either direction. I'll be keeping an eye on for it tomorrow. But the only thing is, like, right after earnings, those Greeks can be a little bit funky. So I don't know. But that's really it for Tesla. That's the analysis. It's in a range, whichever way it breaks. I mean, here are some levels. If you break down, 945 is 944.5 is the next level I see. If you break up and you also clear this 1041, 1070 is the next level I see. That's really it. And then moving on to the swings, you can start off with clov. Pretty much flat. It's down a few cents since the entry. Again, it went red to green, which was nice. Just not much of any technical change. All right, you still got the hidden bullish diversions. You're still outside of the wedge. Even back tested the wedge a little bit, and yeah, just you really had like a nothing type of day. There was price action in between, but not much. You had a nice back test in the morning. Actually, if you all remember, I told you all last night on the stream that I took profits on like a third of my clove calls that I got over here, and that I alerted over here. I took profits like at the high of day yesterday, as I showed you all on stream, and I also tweeted out when I was taking those third of my profits. Then this morning I actually added back when we were back testing, and then towards the end of the day, actually, I did sell the majority of my weekly calls, mainly because they're $3 strikes and they expire this Friday. If clove were to close like literally 1.5% lower, those options would go to zero. If it were to close the end of the day on Friday, 1.5% lower, those options would go to zero. So I just don't want to take that risk. I am looking to roll those out to next week's expirations tomorrow. But again, if variables change in the morning, they change. I can't promise you I'm going to go and buy more clove, but I still do have some weekly calls. I'd say, I don't know the exact amount, but I do still have some weekly calls, but it's definitely a much lower position size. At this point, I've taken a lot of profits off the table. It wasn't even a crazy move, but I've traded it like really nicely. Those calls were like, I was adding them at 6 cents this morning. They went back up, and I think I sold them at like 12 cents. So like the intraday moves were nice for me. But I was kind of biting my nails a little bit in the morning when my calls, because those calls were at like, I think 18 cents or something when I was taking profits yesterday. And then they went down all the way to 6 cents this morning, but then I was buying at 6 cents. It was kind of all over the place, but it's worked out for me. It has taken a lot of my attention this week for sure, but I'm happy it's been doing what it's been doing, and hopefully can actually make a larger move, and that's why I'm still in and why I might be looking to re-add more calls. We'll see. All right, so that's really it for clove. Fisker, on the other hand, just like clove yesterday, Fisker also broke out, but it unfortunately didn't really hold it. So if we redraw it to how my wedge was drawn yesterday, you're now back in the wedge again, just like how like over here, all you have to do was go up a couple percent to break out. Same thing. Tomorrow, all you got to do on Fisker is go up like 1 or 2%. You can break back out of the wedge. But for right now, I redrew my wedge and you're back in it. You kind of started off the day with the 1 hour bearish engulfing. I did not exit my Fisker position. I already had a pretty small size. It was just like a starter I added. And what I basically put in a starter for weekly calls on Fisker yesterday. And I still have that. It's still a very small size. I'm still holding. I think I'm like relatively flat on the position. Maybe a little bit down now. But what I did do was I did add basically after the morning flush, like probably in these areas, like it was in the morning. I added some Fisker calls for next week, and those I also am down on, but it's just a starter. So I definitely have some in Fisker right now, but it's not like a huge position or even like a normal position. It's just I'm entering, and I'll see how it goes. I'm just scaling in a little bit. But you know, it's like on these lower time frames, I'm very closely watching this little level, this like 1155 to 1160 range. This used to be resistance. I have it drawn over here. If you take out like 1150 tomorrow, I might have to stop out of at least like my weekly calls for sure. But if it breaks that support, the issue is then there's like no support down to like $11. So hopefully it can hold the 1150s in general tomorrow. All right, we'll see what happens with clov, with Fisker. This already hit target. I'm just bringing it up because it's in the part of my watch list that is dedicated for the swings, these purple flags. I don't want to talk about the new swing just yet. We can start with like the other new swings from the week. City, this swing is up like 1%. No technical change. That's literally the analysis for tonight. Trip is down 2%. No technical change. Again, like if there was analysis, I'd give it. You do have a little bit of a gap fill here at like 26.20, but again, like these are more longer term swings. It's 1-2% moves. They're swings. All right, I'm not going to spend too much time talking about them until we get more variables. Pen pulled back 1% today after going up 5% yesterday. The classic bullish divergence is still there. The pin bar, but the fall through is still there. Again, like I said when I talk about the market, you did pull back on some of these names, but not a lot of technical damage. Facebook, this was already marked green up over here. This kind of did break under a little bit of it broke the wedge, the low of the wedge. So there's that. There is a gap fill here on 192. But yeah, we are, you know, the calls I learned earlier in the week, you know, this was pretty much when they were playing out. I mean, they went up 140%, so there's more than enough room to take profits there. But unfortunate day for Facebook. But again, like I said, it did make sense when you see something like Netflix down 25%. At least for those types of names, it makes sense. For some of those other like mid cap, like completely not even close to correlated names, it's just confusing. Neo is down 9% today. This is another one that was marked green right up over here. Hopefully it can just hold above this low. There's not much analysis for a lot of these names, but we can talk about the new swing from today. CDE, okay? A few variables here, more than a few. First off, we have this wedge. It's been in this wedge since last February. So for more than a year, CDE has been in this long-term falling wedge. And it just broke out of it a couple weeks ago. What else does it have on the 4 hour? There's a descending broadening wedge, all right? That's not too far away from breaking out of. And then on the weekly, you do have some triple classic bullish divergence, okay? So a lot of different variables there, or a few. And we'll see what happens. The stop is placed under these lows that it bounced out like 3 different times in the beginning of the year. First target's under the 200 MA, second target's under this resistance, third target under another resistance, okay? And then if, you know, there's no 4 target, but 882 is next level, you know, there's 2 other resistances there. So that's a new one, CDE. I also dropped like 3 new swings in premium today. So a lot of new swings to start the week between premium and outside of premium. Those are the swings. Let me see the chat for a second. Futures, yep, futures looking good for right now. Cheta Freeze is saying Dow Jones closed over the 200-day moving average. It did. Very interesting. This is very cup and handle. I mean, also kind of like those other inverse head and shoulders, like Dow Jones actually might be testing a breakout here of its neckline. Whether you want to look at it as a cup and handle or inverse head and shoulders, very interesting. Good catch there. Zeke saying QQQ wedge calls printed. Yeah, those were nice. Oh, thank you for dropping those Russell tickers in the chat, Cheta. Zeke says, one of the best feelings happened today. I was scaling into QQQ calls, and as I was doing so, I alerted some. That's awesome. And they worked out, which is the part that makes it awesome. Got pretty much all mods in the chat. What's up? If you're not a mod, join the chat. It shouldn't just be mods in here. Say what's up. Alright, so yeah, options, trades. There you go. I didn't even realize this. When we were doing the free trial a little while back, last month actually, I think it might have been like right over here. There was a 12 win streak. I think there was like a 10 win streak during the week of the free trial, and I won like another 2 in the beginning of the week following. We had like a 12 win streak, like literally last month. And then there was a little bit of choppiness when that market, when not that market, but when the market started like pulling around over here. But even before, we've been rallying for these last couple of days, and technically today and even Monday, we only really rallied on Tuesday of this week. But for literally since starting last week, so it didn't just start on like, again, this is, let me go up to the SPY for an example. It didn't, you know, this is our week so far. We've only started going up this week, but even including last week, which was these days, we were just going sideways. I alerted, I think, 5 winning trades throughout last week, and then a bunch of new ones so far this week, as you can see over here. So without even realizing, I alerted about 10 winning options in a row. I didn't even know, which is crazy, because when it was the 12 winning in a row, I mean, I was talking about it every single day. Like, I was so excited because we pretty much got the like largest in a row win streak on option trades. And then I didn't even realize that I alerted 10 winners in a row pretty much. I mean, technically, the Tilray calls that failed, I mean, those were alerted before the QQQ. I mean, you can see right over here, QQQ came after the Tilray call. That scared me. But I also alerted Facebook outside premiums, that could count too, but you get the point.
10 win streak was silent but deadly. Here's to the next one. If you haven't ever joined premium, I would highly recommend.
Thank you very much, Zeke, for the testimonial, and for scaring me with the tip, and for the tip. Vibes in the chat for Zeke. Yeah, it was very quiet. I mean, it just happened out of nowhere, which is crazy. Unfortunately, Tilray calls did not work out today. Tilray is another one. I remember I was talking earlier in the stream, those names that like they have like, what correlation does Tilray have to Netflix? So it just really confused me to see Tilray down. What's it called? Where is it? 7%, down 7%. And just look at the price action. It just all day sell off. Like, I don't know if there was any news. Like literally, look at the headline: Toronto index down as tech stocks fall. Okay, and weed stocks are down as tech stocks are falling. But again, it's not about what you think and what makes sense. It's about how the overall market reacts to situations. But it's all good. I like, honestly, if Tilray didn't fail, I probably wouldn't have even realized. And I don't know, maybe it would have been a 20 win streak. But like, yeah, Tilray failed, and I was like, how many winners were there recently? And then I put them all together. And yeah, 9 win streak, 10 win streak, pretty much like this, you know, not the same thing, but there's different ways to look at it, and you get the point. All right, you got the point. That was cool. And then this is like the last 100 option alerts. I know you can like just look at the green and the red, apart from like this little area over here, which still I believe the winners, I mean, no, actually I know the winners are outperforming losers, because we're at like 22 or 23 green weeks in a row. So yeah, I have to tell you all, you know, past results are not always indicative of the futures, but for the past 5 months, every single, I don't know how many months is, I'm so bad. Like, how am I doing this and I can't even do math? I mean, yeah, like the last 20 weeks, like, yeah, all the weeks for the options have been green. You can go look at it yourself, all right? Just click on the premium sign up link, and then option trades results right over here. You can go see those last 5 months. Yeah, okay, you can go see all of them. So this was like this recent one. All right, so there's that. I try my best. I also
think of you very often.
What else is in the chat?
How nice it would be for us to see each other all the time, not just a few hours each week.
Weed stocks were down on 420. Yeah.
Cruel when you want to be.
AR to Tether on Binance, got some hidden bullish divergence, kind of like a inverse head and shoulders looking formation. We'll see. I would just like to see it hold this to 28 area in general. And then AMP, I just look at this as like a wedge. Like that. You could chart it a couple different ways. Not much apart from that. All right, those are some levels. I know we didn't go over a couple last night because they didn't even really happen yet. Tilray 8 just failed. I mean, I could walk you through that as well if you all want to, but this was the first one in 10 trades pretty much that failed. Let's see. I mean, you all, you know, not you all, but some of the newer viewers in the stream might be thinking, wow, this guy only talks about his winning option trades. It was just all of them are winning for the last like 9 or 10. But this did fail today, Tilray. I looked at Tilray calls yesterday. It had this huge wedge, triple classic bullish divergence on the 4 hour. It has this downsloping channel, some hidden bullish divergence. My MACD is still messed up on TradingView, as you can see. I messaged them, I'm still waiting. And it got down to the support zone. So I looked at some Tilray calls and they weren't like weeklies, they were May 6 calls, but obviously it went down 7% today, so it didn't work out. I marked them red very early in the morning, and I believe it fell a lot more after I marked them red. I mean, we can find it. There's all this analysis every single day. 5 minutes after the open, they were marked red. So let's see how much it fell after that. So literally on the first, like literally right over here was marked red. Okay, so it definitely fell a lot more for the load after that. But that was literally it. Just didn't work out. There was also like this lower time from cup and handle. The variables were the same as most of the other trades I've been alerting that were winners. Again, but the variables are not a certainty. It worked for 9 or 10 trades in a row. There's going to be a trade where it doesn't. That was that. What else happened that I didn't already talk about on stream? I alerted Russell 2000. So last night, we already talked about all of these ones up here. Those worked out. And then I didn't talk about these ones last night on stream, because they were just very new. I alerted them towards the end of the day yesterday. Usually when I talk about these trades on stream to recap, it's for education. Basically, I like talking about them on stream after they've already played out, so you can see what happened. Obviously, these are exclusive to premium. But yeah, I need to wait until today. And yeah, so these failed, and then these. We already talked about the QQQs earlier in the stream, and then I alerted Russell Lottos half an hour before the close yesterday based on this cup and handle. Right over here. Okay, right over here. So that played out, and yeah. But again, remember, a lot of these charts, this cup and handle, I'm sure I sent this in the trading chat or announcements yesterday. The QQQ wedge, I did send. Again, even if you're not in premium, find a way to help yourself, help me, help you, whatever it is. Like, I'm sharing a lot of these charts everywhere, Twitter, Discord, everything. All right, so join the Discord, link is in the description. And yeah, all right. Look at what you sent about GameStop and technical trades. Four hour on GameStop has hidden bullish divergence very close to confirming. Seems to have cooled off after the run it had following the breakout of a huge falling wedge it was in. We can reclaim the blue zone, look in the past of what has happened following a bounce off this blue zone. Yeah, I do see that. Hidden bullish divergence very clean. I know this is getting cut out by my chat a little bit. Yeah. I've been looking at GameStop a little bit, AMC as well. If you remember, I was very bullish on GameStop, what was it, last week or something? And that worked out very nicely. It was this move, the wedge breakout. You all remember. It was this move right over here. It was a great trade for me personally. And it looks like it had a fake out, sprung back above support, now it's retesting. So I'd like to see it in general on lower time frames get back above this resistance. It's kind of like the same thing as last week. It's testing. I'm sure it looks like a cup and handle on lower time frames. If we zoom out, very similar setup to what we had right over here that played out right over here. We have kind of like the same exact setup again. So let me do something right now. Let me set up an alert right over there. Okay. And then what to where you're talking about on the 4 hour for GameStop. Yeah, you got the hidden bullish divergence and you are curling and breaking out and all that good stuff. So the variables are there. It's actually testing a breakout how I have it charted, or how I'm charting it right now on the 4 hour. So GameStop, large flag, channel, whatever you want to call it, the variables are there. It's not a certainty, but the variables are there. And look at this. You see this 4 hour line I just drew? And I selected it to only go on the 2 hour and above. It's going to be on the 1 hour. Why? Why are you here? Come on, TradingView. So futures still green. Nasdaq futures leading. Very opposite of last night where Nasdaq futures were the lowest. I actually want to see what AMC is looking like. That was down 7% today. It's very similar, but yeah, just fell. I don't know what else. So kind of in this little range over here. Let me set an alert. So $19 could be a breakout for AMC. Under 17 could be a breakdown for AMC. Okay. Coin launched like beta for their NFT marketplace, which was announced like last October. It has like this little 1 hour channel it's testing a breakout of. JP Morgan broke out and then kind of filled a gap earlier today. You know how much I was talking about those financials on Monday. Most of them have had a nice week, or at least like the large banks. I added more Fisker to my personal fund in the simulator ETF today. I'm just trying to recap everything, things from my watch list, things that happened today. MULN. You know, it's not fun when trades lose, but this is why I put stop losses. Okay, this is why I put stop losses on all of the swings. MULN stopped out at $2.14, right under that orange support level, and since then it is down another 35% in just a couple days. All right, risk management. It's not fun for a trade to be a loser, but you don't want a loser to be turned into back holding. Okay. And I hope it's not a loser forever. Again, for anybody that's like long-term in MULN, I hope it goes back up. I'm just saying, like, the short-term variables failed, technically, from a technical standpoint, okay? But yeah, what else is there to talk about? I don't really know. So I think I'm going to go watch the end of this Celtics-Nets game. And I hope you all have a good night. Join the Discord, links in the description. If you want to join Premium, link is in the description. Free trading course link is in the description. I'm not completely sure if I'm going to be live tomorrow night. It's about a 50-50. So this might be the last stream of the week. I'm not too sure if yeah, we'll just have to see. All right. So thank you for watching the stream. Have a good night. I'll leave you all with the poll in the chat, okay? What's a good poll? Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I got you all with a really good poll. And I already know what the answer is going to be, all right? Actually, no. Wait, how? These polls are weird. Oh, I get it. All right. Okay. All right, poll is in the chat. All right, have a good night. Enjoy the poll. Peace out.
Nobody knows to walk the way you do. The fight in your soul, oh, your strength is true. Nobody knows to shine the way you do. And I need you to give a little love, it's all we need.